What is up, folks? NYKF31 here, Madden 17 Ultimate Team game footage. Kicking around on the Patriots playbook in this one, getting a feel for it for the next installment of the playbook review series. But in this video, I'm going to talk about the Great Divide in the Madden community, and what I think is the Great Divide in the Madden community at this point, or the biggest divide, I should say. And I included a link to the latest episode of the Sim Standard Radio podcast. I don't know what to call it, podcast, broadcast, whatever you want to call it, that Sim F Ball critics Smitty and Commissioner Zor do every week. I thought it was a really, really good episode. I think it's one of the best ones they've done so far since they've been doing this. They had Madden Universe on representing the competitive scene. Neff was on there. I made a brief little cameo. A couple other callers or viewers chimed in as well on the stream. It was a really good discussion. I think everyone who has an interest in Madden in particular and football gaming or sports gaming in general should take a listen to it, regardless whether you like the game, hate the game, somewhere in between. It pretty much, I think, captures really well where we're at as a Madden playing community and the things that we want to see addressed in the game and how we want the Madden community to evolve as well. Every now and then, you see this on Twitter. Every now and then, we kind of throw rocks at each other. I think that's just the inevitable consequence, I guess, of Twitter. And we all fall into it. I do it sometimes. Sometimes we get caught up and we have those 100 and something characters to get our points across. Sometimes it can come across more abrasive than we intend it to. Sometimes it comes across exactly as abrasive as we intend it to. But sometimes we can throw rocks at each other, which, while some of it's human nature, I think some of it's also a shame because, truth be told, we all want the same things. We're all playing the game. We all are looking to enjoy whatever realm we compete in the game as best we can, whether it's in online leagues, whether it's on the online leaderboards, trying to climb the ladders, whether it's playing tournaments, playing CFM. We all want to maximize our value with the game. And we all want the game to be fun to play. At the end of the day, this is leisure. This is our entertainment. We're playing a toy. We're playing a video game. And, we want to get the most bang for our buck as we can. And I would say, from my point of view, and Man Universe made this point as well as the other guys that participated on the broadcast, we're largely identical. The biggest difference, at least in my view, between the simulation audience and the tournament audience is that the tournament guys, they're annoyed by a lot of the same things that annoy quote-unquote us, but, they're playing to compete and win money, so their point of view is a reasonable one. They address what's wrong with the game, they address how to counter it, but they're also not going to play with their hand tied behind their back either. They're also going to use it. Unless it's taken out of the game during the cycle of the year, they're going to use it, and they're going to figure out a way to stop it from being used against them, period. And I agree with most of what both factions say and where they're coming from. I depart on a couple of things, like, for example, when the tournament guy complains that there's too much randomness in the form of penalties. Well, not penalties. There aren't any penalties. That's another thing. I watched the FIFA tournament, and they have penalties on, they have injuries on, they have penalty kicks on, and to the best of my knowledge, you don't hear them bitching, but in the Madden world, if that were to happen, a lot of these guys would throw a fit. That's where I depart. This is still a sport. You can't just strip away what makes football football because you don't want your ball carriers being popped and fumbling when they're hit by CPU controlled defenders. I mean, it's not a 1 on 11 out there. You have a team out there for a reason. And while I respect the competitive players' desire to have their individual skills respected, you can't just completely bastardize a sport to that great of extent either. So that's where I depart from them on that aspect. The sim gamer, they can be ridiculous as well. If you don't like what someone's doing to you, play calling wise, as long as you're not dealing with something that's just a blatant glitch or an exploit. But if you're sitting there struggling with what someone's doing and they keep on doing it, do something about it. Figure it out. Learn how to use the mechanics better. Stop asking for the computer to play the game for you. But again, I respect most of their point of view as well in that regard because the game is too easily exploitable, and it's frustrating to know what's coming, but not necessarily know how to or have the tools that you need to slow it down because of the game's AI and the game's mechanics. For example, this guy I'm playing right here, I know that on, 3rd and 5 or 4th or 4th and 5 and 4, he wants to come out in split close, and when he passes the ball, there's really 2 or 3 things he's going to do. In those situations, when I say play hard flat and when I say protect the sticks, all I ask is that my defenders actually do that and go where they're supposed to go, and then what happens happens. For example, if I decide to shade inside and I get beat outside, you'll never hear a complaint from me. If I'm squeezing my coverage underneath, I get beat over to the top of it, okay, fine, I get beat. But where I will make noise is when I know where you're going to go, I have the mechanics set up to do what I want to do, and the game doesn't respect that. So you can have your stick skills and all that. You can have your pet plays and favorite routes and favorite formations and all that good stuff. But at least give us the mechanics to balance the game. And that's where things get frustrating for people, is that things get thrown out of balance too easily. We have a popular way of playing defense that consists of a basic nickel blitz that the sliding mechanic or the slide protection mechanic isn't adept at picking up. That mechanic needs to be improved, obviously. We have defensive mechanics like coverage shading, inside or outside, protecting the sticks, over the top or underneath that aren't as expansive as they need to be. But we can't get what we want if we're constantly kicking rocks at each other, throwing rocks at each other, and just beating each other over the head on social media. We're all one community here, and we're all doing our part the best we can to get our voices heard and get the game improved as best as we're able. So that's what I got to say about that. I encourage you guys to watch the Sim Standard Radio broadcast that I posted in the link below, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Talk to you all later. Peace.